There is more concern this morning about conditions inside detention centers. Let's go to Gayle, who is along the U.S. Mexico border outside one of those facilities in McAllen, Texas. Gayle, good morning. A lot of heartbreak down on that border.
I'll say, Alex, you couldn't have said it better than that. Wrenching, disturbing. There are many adjectives we could use here. The photos we showed you yesterday of undocumented immigrants inside a Rio Grande Valley detention facility are drawing intense reactions today. Our David Bagnall, was part of a select group of journalists allowed inside, and he described what he saw as people in cages. Now, the Border Patrol didn't like that. They told us it was uncomfortable with that characterization, but they did not say it was inaccurate. For the first time, though, we may be hearing from children separated from their parents. Investigative website ProPublica obtained a nearly 8-minute audio recording that it claims reveals children crying out inside a detention facility. Civil rights attorney Jennifer Harbury received the audio from a client who says it was recorded last week. Now, we have to tell you that CBS News has not been able to independently confirm the authenticity of this recording, which is mostly in Spanish, but here is a portion.
¿De dónde son ustedes? ¿Y tú?
Guatemala.
No llores. Vas a llegar con... Mira, ella te va a explicar y te va a ayudar. ¿Cierto, Consul?
¿Qué va a pasar con su consulado? Papá.
Jennifer Harbury has lived and worked in the Rio Grande Valley for 4 decades and joins us this morning. Jennifer, thank you very much for coming.
Good morning.
You know, I don't speak Spanish, but I certainly know mommy and papi. And you hear the anguish in the children's voice. What can you tell us about the client and the conditions on how he or she got this tape?
Well, it's very important always to protect any whistleblower from retaliation. But I can say that that particular person I have known and I certainly know of and is of impeccable integrity. The whistleblower did, in fact, make that tape recording in person. And brought it to me.
Because this is really the first time we've heard the children. You know, they've allowed reporters in, but we have not been allowed to record anything. So this is really the first time we're hearing children's voices. But before we go further, how can you really explain to us that this is an authentic tape? I was on a plane the other day and I heard children screaming, "Mommy" and "Daddy." How can we tell that it was recorded there at a facility?
Well, at the beginning of the tape, you can hear a heavy door clanging shut and people saying, okay, you know, in Spanish, of course, it's, you know, sort of getting the children together and stuff. All that I can really say is that Ginger Thompson of ProPublica did an amazing job. There is a small child who had memorized an aunt's phone number in that tape.
Yeah, and she says, "Let me call my aunt." Yes.
She's saying, "You call my aunt and tell her to come here right away. I'm all alone. I'm frightened," and she's begging and crying. Ginger Thompson, in fact, called that person, and yes, the little girl exists. Yes, the little girl is in detention. And yes, she was frightened, and yes, she was separated from her mother.
You're not telling us the specific facility, but what can you tell us about the children in the facility?
There is the place or in the facility is where children have been brought after they were separated from their parents. Those are the small children, like age 12 down to 4, that you hear on the tape. There are also some teenagers that fled the cartels, for example, ran for their lives, and they're unaccompanied for that reason, and they're also in the back of that room.
What do you say to the Trump administration that says, listen, these parents are putting their children in danger. We're not putting these children in danger. The parents are doing that.
Well, I'd like to give an example maybe of one client at one point from a few years ago. He turned 15 in Honduras. And that's prime time when the cartels arrive at your door and say, "You're working for us or you're dead." They asked him the first time, and he said, "No, I don't want to work for you," which was maybe not very diplomatic. They came the second time and ran him over with a car. He woke up 3 days later with a head injury. His mother, a very poor campesina woman, had managed to round up $30 or $40, stuffed it into his hands, and said, "Run."
And the point you're making is these people are desperate. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, the parents are trying to save their kids' lives by getting them up here.
As an attorney who works with children, what is your take on all of this? What you're seeing and hearing? You've seen more than most of us.
I'm astounded that America, of all places, my father having arrived at Ellis Island, also frightened out of his wits at age 11, that of all places America would stoop to traumatizing and abusing children of refugees. How can we come to this? If we want to go after the cartels 100%, wonderful. Why are we punishing their victims?
A lot of people are asking that question.
Yes.
Thank you very much for joining us so early this morning. We do appreciate it.